Welcome back to another episode of Card Talk Canada. How are you doing, boys?
Well, this got scored on, so I'm not great. Coleman, how about you?
I'm doing good. Had a good day, I guess Montreal has just got scored on. Nick, what do you have to think about the game so far?
To be honest, I haven't been watching, um, and that's probably why the boys are losing because they don't have my emotional support nor my coaching prowess. But I'm confident. We got off to a hot 3-1 start, and the boys are pretty good at bouncing back from being down. So I think they'll be just fine.
Speaking of the Canadians, you know what? This week, release week, Series 1, Demidov. We got one of the biggest chases for Young Guns we've had in a while.
Who saw
Super
his
hot.
goal? Who
We
saw his
have
goal the other night?
seen sales prices already going super high, and it has been crazy. I don't know. Have you guys picked any up? Have you seen any, or what do you think about Series 1 overall? Let's dive right into it and get right into release week talking about that.
We did not rip any this yet. I don't think I'm going to be buying anything yet. I might dabble in it around the expo, but for now I'm holding off, waiting to see where he settles. Um, how about you, Nick?
Um, I'm of the same opinion. I think buying, especially young guns, really close to release. If they're not parallels, uh, it's usually every single time you see it, like they end up going down. The only guy that I think is up right now from like his release day is Lane Hudson. Funny enough, Montreal stud defenseman. But genuinely, he was selling for $100 or less, like within a week of release day. And his is like one of the only young guns I've seen that's actually climbed because now it's like sitting still around that like 120, 130 range. But in general, you're gonna do well to wait and let things cool off a little bit, let the supply come up and let the demand go down. So
For
I'm
sure.
holding off.
Yeah,
Well, if
he's
you are ripping on release week, very crucial to get it to the market fast and get it to the market while demand is really there. Like we look at some of the highest sales for Series 1 so far. It's kinda crazy. You look at some of the Ivan Demidov pre-sales, so before the product even come out, even yesterday, and you're looking at 700 best offer, 600 best offer, which is crazy. And now you can see prices more coming down around the 350 range, there's 300. Where do you guys think this balances out? You think he goes up from here? Does he stay around that 350 mark, or what happens?
I don't think he can hold the 300 mark. I think he's going to be sub 200 by the expo, uh, barring him not going for like 20 points in 20 games. That's the only way I see him touching 300 again. I think he's just going to steadily fall and be sub 200 by the expo.
See, the diehard Habs fan in me wants to say that like just buy him. It doesn't matter what the price is because this kid's going to be an absolute stud. Like, and he is. But the more conservative and realistic um, part of me says, yeah, absolutely. Wait for his stuff to come down. I think also something that's like interesting. Like people used to buy Young Guns like with investment purposes because the print run was a little bit lower back in the day, and like you could buy and hold them and like wait for them to go up. Like
Prices were lower.
that with how cheap the Series One boxes are comparatively, like they're like 100 and I think $70 retail or something compared to like Bedard or even for example. That just the ease of being able to get wax and rip it should also drive the cost of his down. So I mean, if the box costs 170, it's hard to see his young guns being worth more than the price of what one box would be by the time this all balances out. So yeah, I think that like 120 to 150 range, I would imagine he sits a little bit higher than Hudson, but yeah.
Yeah, kind of in a similar spot to Hudson, I think. I think you have that Montreal, there's a little bit of a premium there, a little bit of extra, but I do think, as you said, he's gonna sit right in that 100, maybe up to 200 range and fluctuate kind of in between there. And I think that, there may be some good opportunities with some of the higher end Series 1 stuff, which high gloss or exclusives. Sometimes with those, the market really doesn't balance itself out for a while. So you can either get a really good deal on one of the first ones that have sold, or you could get really screwed. Um, so I think it's all about kind of seeing where you think, as you said, Nick, And Adrian, if he doesn't pop off and have a really good first couple weeks and months of the season and is not overperforming or performing up to at least the expectation, those prices are going to drop because he's already priced in as having such a good year in that already.
Yeah, I agree, and I like look at it comparatively to the other boxes that have come out in these years, and I don't think this box will get ripped as much as Celebrini Michkov did, but it should get ripped just about the same amount as Lane Hudson, and I think that wasn't that much that people ripped it. So I think it's all going to come down to how much people rip it, how much it gets available. That will determine if it goes farther. Because like for me, when I look at the draft class, a lot of the top prospects in this year's Series One are not from strong market hobby teams, right? Snuggard
From
Snuggeroo.
Snuggeroo.
yeah, from St. Louis. Like that's not a strong hobby market team. So
I
there's
think he's going to be good. I think he's a sneaky pickup. Sorry to interrupt.
From Snuggers.
he is a good player, and like there is a lot of upside in a lot of these guys, but there's just not enough of a hobby demand that guys will be ripping this so much that we'll see it drop because of pop base. But hey,
Jordan Kyrie sucks. Sorry.
the last time Nick was really hard on a team, you know, that team started off really well. The Anaheim Ducks have had a great start to their season, if I do say so myself.
They have
And
actually.
I actually did draft an Anaheim Ducks player in my fantasy league. I drafted Lucas Dostal. Not because I think that they're good, but because I know he's going to get absolutely pelted with shots, and he's got to save a couple of them, right? He's getting
You
40
know
shots a
what?
game.
Dostal, I think he's going to have a sneaky season. And something actually that came by the Montreal Expo, we had a massive Dostal collection come by. Lucky enough to pick up, I think a couple of us picked up a few pieces. I was lucky enough to get a Future Watch Auto Black PSA 10 of his, Pop 1. So I think that might be a good one going in if he can somehow will these guys into some more wins. But you look at the young guys on their team and how they're performing. How are their markets really being affected right now that the season started?
I think they've always been in a hard hobby market out there, and they had that tough path of Zegras, Drysdale, McTavish that a lot of guys are kind of exhausted with Anaheim and their prospect. But Senecki, who should be in
Seneca.
Seneca,
How do I know these guys? And you're.
I'm just bad at pronouncing names.
I'm
But
just kidding. I apologize.
he's had a strong start for how young he is, and he should be in Series 2. That will be a big chase for everyone. Cutter's market's kind of stabilized right now, and it's holding flat. Leo's the same. Surprisingly, they're old guys. Chris Kreider's decided to resurrect his career. 4 goals in 3 games. I don't
But I
know what's
mean,
there.
Anaheim's done a fantastic job. As much as I like to rip on them just because of like their years past, it seems like they've made a genuine shift because I mean they traded for Truba last year, and that's a move to like make a team just like better. They got Kreider for some help up top, and I think they've realized like, okay, if we have like a full team of guys that are like the age of 24 and younger, who the heck's going to lead these guys and keep their noses like up out of the ground, right? So I think they figured out like, okay, we'll get some vets in, we'll give these guys like some role models and some leaders that can like take charge in the locker room, and it's paying dividends for them so far. So I like what
For
I'm seeing.
sure. I think that's something that's crucial. And I think we may see with Anaheim as these younger guys maybe have some of their markets tick up a bit if they perform well. I think some of these older guys too, like Kreider, maybe his young gun may have a little bit of life. And that all depends on how the team ends up and how they play. Um, I still think those young guys in Anaheim, there's still time to pick up some of their cards and maybe looking into the future, maybe 5 years from now when the Ducks are a powerhouse in this league.
Yeah, I mean, the GM definitely thinks they've got some gold on that blue line with Jackson McComb getting $9 million. That was an interesting. I was more surprised about that than Luke Hughes, to be honest.
No, I just think both of them have a lot to prove, and I don't think that these were contracts that were given to players who deserve them, if this makes any sense. And I'm not trying to say that they didn't deserve this money because they do, but I think when you look into the future and what's going to happen, these are going to be contracts that 5 years down the line, people are going to be saying because where the cap's going, wow, this was such a great deal. And I think that it may be a little bit of an overpayment and high in the first couple of years. But as the cap continues to rise and continues to expand, these players are just going to be making more and more. Look at Kaprizov and where his salary is.
Yeah, that Kaprizov deal was massive.
Well,
Yeah,
now you look at
he like there's so I'm gonna go off on my little rant first. Like you mentioned McDavid, and that was like a freaking heck of a team friendly deal. Like he's and like so the Montreal Canadiens, okay, their locker room vibes are like immaculate. The fact that Lane Hudson would sign a sub $9 million contract is just like insane when you talk about Jackson Lacombe, when you talk about Luke Hughes, and the fact that they're left-handed D. Like right-handed D are the guys that like are impossible to find these days, and both of those guys were left-handed D, and they got like north of $9 million a piece. Um, so that Lane Hudson deal was absolutely smoking, and then Coleman, you just alluded to the Connor McDavid deal, which was another team-friendly one. So I mean, it comes down to I guess what the vibe is in the locker room, and if you care more about making the extra few $1 million a year, or if you want to leave your team some room for a chance to win, which may pay even more dividends down the line, right? And I think you get a real stark contrast.
for sure. And I think you take a look at what McDavid did and also take a look at the path that Crosby's taken. And I think that may be something where McDavid has seen what kind of culture and what kind of a team that can be created when the best player takes a little bit less and kind of shows that for the rest of the team. But I think it's important that the rest of the guys in Edmonton see that and maybe they come in suit and they take a little bit of less next time. And then at the end of the day, that's just going to let them add more depth and add more guys and hopefully bring the cup back to Edmonton eventually.
I still think that the falling domino that's gonna have to be taken care of in Edmonton is the Darnell Nurse contract. Either he needs to absolutely change his life and get on a new health plan, new trainer, everything, and like really find it, or they have to get rid of him because I think that is the biggest hurdle that they're gonna have to face with this McDavid window.
For sure.
The
And it's getting even tougher now to retain salary and to even have that opportunity now to trade. And I think that's one thing that before you could always just, oh, you retain 50, here you go. And that's the way to eat. It's tougher now. You can't do it. The rules are different. They have the 75 days now that has to be cleared. So I think that who knows what's going to happen with that contract. But we may see though, as time goes on and as the cap increases, that contract becomes less and less as a burden for Edmonton over time. But it's just the same as what's happened in Minnesota when they bought out the contracts and the penalties because of it. Their cap has suffered, but now with the cap rising, I just think all these teams, players are going to get paid more and more opportunities are going to be out there overall.
I'm interested to see what happens in that scenario there.
I don't know what Anaheim did to sign their young guys. Like I know McTavish just got like a bit of a bridge deal. Like there were rumors that Montreal was interested. Like everyone's looking for second line center right now, it seems. But like I'm gonna keep eating the dead horse. Like Montreal signed all their big guys in like the last couple seasons coming up, and that's what set them up like so freaking well. And for any of the listeners that follow basketball, like this really just feels like an Oklahoma City situation where OKC went through the rebuild. You know, like they had the run with KD and with Westbrook. They got rid of those guys, and then they got Paul George in, and they quickly realized that wouldn't work, and then they just built up a treasure trove of draft picks. They signed their young guys to a really good contracts. The contract went up, and now they're just like absolutely flying. And like it looks like they're building a real dynasty, and that's just what it feels like in Montreal. Treasure of draft picks, signed all of our young guys at the right time, right before the cap absolutely spiked, and we'd set ourselves up for like ample cap room in the future. And we have the highest paid player on our team's Noah Dobson at $9.5 million. The next one after that is Suzuki with like the internal cap at 7.75 for the forwards, and then Hudson's at under 9. So
I think that was
yeah.
a mistake. Was Dobson.
I didn't think they needed him.
I
It
just
was
don't think, again,
but
I just don't think you need him. And I think that money can be spent better elsewhere. Because you have
So
two guys right now who should deserve that number one spot, who deserve the number one power play.
who would be the
Noah and
would you
Lane.
No one
oh
Lane.
two oh I get what you're saying. Okay, sorry, you're talking about in terms of defense on the number one on the PP1.
Yeah, I just think it may create a little bit of not saying there's problems, but it could. And there's been cases where an older guy, a vet, maybe gets replaced by a younger guy, and or the opposite. Maybe Lane doesn't feel that he's getting the opportunity he deserves, but they feel they owe Dobson something. I don't know, but the way I look at it is they are both two power defensemen who are great defenders, offensive defensemen in this league, and maybe they didn't need to get both of them. Maybe Dobson can become trade bait for whatever holes that they see in the team.
There are really quickly two things that I'll say to that. Number one, it is incredibly hard to sign and get American players to stay long term in Canada. Like that is just, and it so that was part of it. Was in order to, I think in order to get him to stay and sign for an 8-year deal, and which is what they needed because of how much draft capital he gave up, they had to pay him a little bit more to get him to agree to that. Number two, it's incredibly hard to find right-handed D right now. Number three, he fits the age range that we're looking for, and he's got the experience where he's not like a brand new young defenseman. And the final thing is like comparatively defensively, I don't think Hudson's ever going to be a top defensive defenseman in the league. Dobson can play offensive, but he's also a hell of a defender too, and he can play physical. So I think I get what you're saying, and I totally agree that 9.5 mil compared to the rest of the team seems very high. But if you compare it to the rest of the league and like what it would he probably deserves,
For
is
sure.
yeah.
No, I get that. And I get that. I just think that that right-handed point brings it all up is that they're scarce in the league and people want them. And even now, again, with the cap going up as we keep talking about this, that contract's going to be better and better. And if they do decide to get off of it or give it to someone else, that's going to be a very like a deal that a lot of teams want to make and take on.
That's not a retained salary situation.
No,
That's like
no,
yeah.
for sure. And it's also a long-term deal, so they're going to have hopefully term to keep him around a bit. I guess speaking of Montreal, we had the Montreal Expo a couple weekends ago now. It was a great time. We picked up lots of new stuff. Let's just recap it over quickly and hop into maybe some of our favorite things of the weekend. It was great to see everyone who we always kind of see at these shows and all the clients we connect with. And Montreal is always such a great show. It's always so busy and popular. And the fall Montreal show just means it's the start of busy season and big show season. We got Toronto Expo coming up this weekend. We have CSC and also the Ajax Durham Card Show. So it's going to be a busy time. But Montreal, Nick, Adrian, anything you guys to add? I know Nick picked up some big PC pieces. And as a Montreal fan, I know you always love to get up into Montreal Valley to hunt some cards.
We'll let Adrian show off first because I feel like I've been talking a little bit too much.
What are we showing off? Well, yeah, the expo was good. The expo was great. I mean, I only got to go for 24 hours because I had work, so I was only there on the Friday. And like I was saying after my road trip, the FOMO was unbelievable. I just wanted to be there the whole time. As I was working, I was like, oh, what's going on? What are the boys doing? What are they picking up? But I did put in some work on the first day, and I'll show off my big PC pickup. It's gonna be a little hard actually to show this off. But we got the full nameplate of Mr. McKinnon.
Crazy.
That was my big PC pickup of the X. I'd mind that for a while, knowing where I wanted to get it for, and then make a deal happen, part trade, part cash. So you never go wrong making some good trades at the Expo.
Never go wrong. And McKinnon, he's going to have a big year, I think. And with the Olympics coming up, he's going to be a dog in the Olympics, and prices are just going to keep going up and keep balancing out. Nick, you also picked up a pretty big PC piece, and you want to talk about that a little?
I have it here beside me. First of all, Adrian, you freaking killed that deal. That's unreal. I know you take a lot of McKinnon in and out, and he's been a very good boy for you to be picking up and moving. So
Very
congrats on that piece, and very, very happy for you to add another sick piece to your collection.
I gotta find a nice way to fit it up in the back of the screen here and have
need
it
a
on
frame or something. There's actually a company that does custom framing for cards, and they could even do like a McKinnon photo in the background or something.
Yeah,
That might be sick.
I need a nice way to display that off.
I picked up a couple of Habs cards. Interesting thing about the Montreal Expo, like the room is full of Canadians cards. Well, unless you got something really, really rare, I find the big Habs cards don't necessarily like move. It's not great to show up with a full showcase of Habs. You want to have diversity,
For sure.
but that also means because the room's full of Habs cards that you get to go hunting for some. So I found some pretty cool ones. I'm only going to show one. I did pick up a few, but this is the ultimate grail, my like number one biggest PC, and I got a Carey Price Shield 101 out of
So
the
nice.
cup.
So sick. Ugh.
Shout out to everyone that helped make this happen. Coleman, like I remember you grabbing me and being like, "Dude, look at this." Showed me on the phone. Someone had the card at the expo. Coleman came over, showed me right away. I was in the middle of a deal. I like wrapped up the deal, grabbed almost my entire showcase, and ran over to the guy who had it and said, "Take whatever you want. Take whatever you
Shout out,
want."
shout out our
Thank you.
easy deal.
I was about so yeah. If you ever done business with Justin Archibald, he moves like massive, very high end cards. Like I remember first coming into the hobby, and I would see him all over Facebook, like posting stuff, and I just watched him like ascend in terms of like the quality of cards that he like would pick up. Uh, this might not have been like a groundbreaking deal for him, but it was for me. So thank you very much, Justin, for helping me acquire this.
You know what? It was a quick. He got it there at the expo, I think, and put it on his story. And I think it was less than 32 minutes later, the deal was done.
That's
And
epic.
I think that's good.
Funny story, just to wrap it up. So I walked over to him and he told me the number that he wanted in trade, and I said, "Okay, sure." I didn't even look at sales. And then when we were talking about stuff, he pulled out his phone and he showed me his Instagram messages, and then he scrolled, and I think he had about 15 messages within. And it's like you say, the story was only up for about 30 minutes. He had 15 messages replying to the story, asking for prices. Everyone was interested, so I knew I was like, okay, it's now or never. And he picked out some cards, and he said, "I'll take these." I didn't even counter him. I just said, "Okay, sure, done." So
It's a good deal.
yeah, so I think we were
So
both
what
really
plan
happy.
with the car? Are you gonna hold that for a bit? Is that gonna be maybe a Toronto Expo mover or for the right offer or
Everything's got a price for me, especially the more expensive cards. I know the shield market has gone up considerably. This is the first like actually technically this is the second shield I've owned, but I mean um I would say everything's got a price. I'm gonna be asking a very silly number for it. But if someone gives me that number, I will probably take it. But this is also the type of card I think that like you can really truly look at as an investment piece. Where like I think long term these are the types of cards that really will go up in value. And I mean, I don't know if you guys have chatted about like the logo man sales that keep getting bought up by Kevin O'Leary and stuff, but if you want to talk about like sort of akin to like modern art or like a what's it called, like a museum piece, you know, I've heard that term too. I think these are the types of cards where it's really okay to sit on even if you want to for like 10, 20 years. So
I I agree, and as we see, and even with the bounties that get put out for Ultimate Shields now, and you look at Grant and where he's been kind of setting the bar is these prices year over year are just going to keep getting more expensive and expensive. And I think that, and as you said, you look at the NBA and with the logo man, you look at the NFL with the shield, and you look at MLB with the debut patch. And I think for hockey, these cards, they have a lot of growth potential. And you look at the high end market, you see more and more kind of big money being kind of juiced into the hobby and being put in. And I think over time we see as more money gets brought in, maybe by some bigger clientele and bigger spenders, these higher end cards are just going to keep ticking up and up and up because they're so in demand and not available. So I think that's a very good pickup. And overall, Montreal was packed, and I think that you it's another testament to where the state of the hobby is we saw a lot of people who we've seen before, we've seen at past Montreal Expos or the Toronto Expo, but also there was a lot of new people in the space, and who are there just getting involved. And I think that the next couple weeks and leading into the Toronto Expo is going to be really, really good. And I think that Toronto Expo is going to be it's going to be popular this year, and I think there's going to be tons and tons of opportunities coming.
One thing I was shocked with for even just being there for a day, and I wonder if it was the case, you guys noticed this over the whole weekend, but I was impressed with the diversity of people that people were looking for. Like they weren't like last year just looking for Hudson. There was more people looking for everybody and anything. They were kind of really looking for a wide variety of people, not just the core guys that have been hot recently.
Well, exactly, and I don't think there was nothing too specific that I could pinpoint and say, like, "This is the thing." Like, last year was Hudson, Nyes, like but I don't know if I could say that it was just a wide range of everything that was selling. There was a good mix of high end, a good mix of just mid end, lots of young guns were selling, lots of people are prospecting, I think. Lots of people are like, who do they think especially at that time, which is it was still preseason right before the, uh start of the year, and I think that there was lots of people who were trying to get their investments in early and get some cards that they can maybe hold throughout the season and for that to rise up. And there was lots of people like Gunther, Cooley, there was Mintikov, Carlson, just everyone from those young classes people were looking at. And I think Series 1 is going to be just as popular.
I think we did see a lot of those like young guys really bottom this summer where people would just like look at the price and be like, why is this guy 60, 70, $80? Like they've never been this low. That I think a few people were looking to do that, stocking up and prospecting again, of being like, these are some of the lowest prices we've seen for some good prospects in a while, that it's always a good time to buy them. And it's not too risky if you're not buying too many of them.
No, exactly, and I think that they for a relatively small investment, some of them have um, some pretty good areas of growth, and I think especially if their teams do well, and with the Olympics coming up, maybe some of those guys who are more bubble of Team Canada or not, because or Team USA, because all those guys are such great players, and I think if they get the opportunity to maybe shine in their country's uniform, their market is gonna tick up a little bit as well.
So one like key standout example that I could think of is your boy there, Coleman Wyatt. Funny story. I guess it's not really a funny story. His there was a couple of comps that came out, I think, in like July, August on a Y Johnson on like just raw future watch auto, and it was selling for like under $200, which is absolutely insane when you think about the type of player that Wyatt is and how he's going to get even like how many opportunities he's going to get this year, like the additions that they made, but also the guys they lost. Like they lost Granlund, right, from the power play, so like that just opens up more for him. Um, and yeah, so I picked up like I think a couple of Wyatt's over the off season. He comes out and scores like 3 or 4 goals in his first 3 games.
He's a goal
Uh,
a game right now.
yeah, on an absolute tear, and now boom, like his future watch is now comping like almost $300 again. Like, and it took like what for him to just continue what he was doing like last year. Oh, yeah, if you can take advantage of the off season market, especially in that like midsummer, July, August, and use those comps to your advantage. If you're picking up the right guys, and even if you pick up the wrong guys, like the risk is so minimal. Like you were saying, Adrian, like you pay the right price, you pay the summer price, and like they really need to underperform for it to go down from there.
Well, especially when some of these PSA 10 prices are 40, 50, $60 and grading costs 35, $40 now. So like really like you're putting like these guys, they just have to move up a little bit. Um, but yeah.
I do think though that like there are bottoms to these guys, but everyone learn from my mistakes. You need to keep yourself in check. Don't buy too many of these low end young gun tens. Um, there was a point in time where I owned 16 Nick Robertson young gun tens, and because I thought they were at the bottom, how could they get worse? But it's not that they got worse, but it's the fact that
No one bought.
no one bought them, and I was stuck holding 16 Nick Robertson PSA
Should have
10.
just kept buying, just leveraged lower.
Exactly, just bring that average down. I think it's hell of a it makes hell of a story. So like you could argue money well spent just in terms of your homage to Nick. We gotta get you to meet him one day.
Well, I told the boys, I think I'm on the hunt for another big Nick Robertson card, at least while he's still on the team. And
Well, speaking of would you like a gold cup? Nick
I
Roberts.
would I would consider it. Honestly, right now in my watch list for this week's Slab Sharks, I've got a regular cup RPA because it's at $30, and I thought, well, You know, $40 to have a Cup RPA 2-color, it's not awful. So it's on my watch list, but I also I don't think he listens to the podcast, but I have seen the Nick Robertson Rookie Shield 1 of 1. I don't know what he's asking on it, but I'm hoping it's cheap. But it probably won't
It's
be.
not gonna be cheap. I can guarantee you that.
But I know that if I were to take a real giggle for a little bit, I might. Nick will spank me for it, but I might.
You will get spanked, but I tend to spank people regardless. So
Any other closing remarks about the Montreal Expo closing remarks, boys? These sticker prices on the room in Montreal were atrocious. This is a PSA to all vendors. What are we doing? Check comps the week of, the night before, and update your stickers. We're not trying to fleet people here, okay? There were some cards I had stickered myself based off comps. I did my lap around before the show started, and people had double my sticker price. I literally got scared that I miscomped, that I looked the cards up again. And I said, no, my stickers are right. People, what are we doing?
But that's every show you go to. And I think the thing is and especially is I understand if sometimes you don't have the opportunity to comp all your cards or that. But if someone comes up and clearly says this is like there are multiple comps or like this or this is what the market has been for a while, and it's like $400 less, and I don't care. I like it is what it is. I'm just gonna wait for it to go back up.
I have the opposite opinion. Everybody sticker your cards even freaking higher. Absolutely no one's gonna buy your cards, and they'll all come to the tables that are stickered reasonably. So for all of you vendors out there that want to like 2 or 3x the values of your cards, keep on doing it because it's just making it easier for me to sell my cards because I put them at fair values. People come up. The number of times, even at the Montreal show, people will come up and say, "Wow, you guys have like this reasonably priced stuff. You guys have really good like prices," and they would come back. People like there were several times where people would come to the table, buy a card, they would walk the rest of the show floor for 2 hours, that they'd end up back at the table and spend more because what
Well,
the heck?
and the thing is also is the more it's crazy because they'll walk over and there's tons of people who will just buy at sticker. You know you have your cards priced right and priced good when people just come up and don't even ask. They're buying at sticker. And sometimes I get like, "Oh my god, like was that too low?" or like, "We know to go." But no, it's good because you want to keep the inventory moving. And that's what I find with some of these dealers is they get stale inventory and it's the same cards that sit over and over again and there's no variety. So I think that's one of the things is if you can move it out, just keep moving some inventory in and out. And of course there's cards that you want to hold and that it doesn't matter how long they sit in the showcases. You're just happy to have them there. Like the Carey Price PC or whatever it may be, my Wyatt Johnsons, or there's just those cards, McKinnon for Adrian. But also, I think that you want to be able to keep moving your inventory in and out and keep changing it because the more you change it, the more different eyes and different clients have the opportunity to buy stuff and just the bigger you can expand overall.
Well, there's a way that you can not sticker the stuff that's PC, right? If you know that you're asking, like Nick said earlier, like a silly number, you can not sticker it and then tell them your silly number and see how they react. And you say like it's PC. Like if I don't get my number, I don't want to move it. But like when there's a Matthew Barzell PSA 10 on the floor for $180 and I'm $100 under that, like what are we doing? Like that's just like what are we doing?
I will
Probably
s- I will say there's also like there's certain cards where even if I walk up to vendors and I know they're asking 2x the price, like there's sometimes where I'll find it reasonable and sometimes where I won't. For a card that's as common as like a Young Gun or something of that variety, to have it to be asking way, way, way over when that card is just so easily found and sells so frequently, that's one thing. If it's like a Future Watch Auto 10 that you really don't see that often, or like I say, like a card from the Cup or like a Cup RPA, like with a really nice patch, and you say, look, like I know the last sale was this. I'm asking a lot more than that, and if you don't want that, like go try to find another one. You know what I mean? So there's a balance. Like there are some cards that I think are justified, especially if they haven't sold in a while. That direct card where you ask that much more. And if the price doesn't work for you, just be respectful of the dealer. Say, okay, no problem. I understand where you're coming from. Like, I'm interested in the card, so clearly we're seeing eye to eye on the value of it, right? But to do that for like common cards is just silly.
For sure. And that's the thing. At the end of the day, they're whoever's cards they are, and they can charge whatever they want. And it's up to them. And we know that at least for us, we're always open to negotiation. If we have something stickered wrong, or let us know, tell us, and we would always be happy to negotiate with you. But um, some things we're going to be more firm on, and that's okay as well.
Now, my other pet peeve that we have to talk about. All right, we're gonna role play this one. Coleman, I want to buy this. I want to buy this Brady to Chuck Young Gun 10 off you. What's your best? What's your best, Coleman? I know your sticker is like 180, which is about comp. Like, what's your best?
What I've been saying now is, what's your offer? That's what I've been saying. Just it's gotten to a lot where that's the first thing, and I don't care about. We'll negotiate all your little heart desires and whatever you want. Just throw me a number. Walk up and throw. You don't even have to say hi. Point at a card and throw me a number. That's better than what's your best. Just give me and I don't care if the number's $5. I do care probably on some cards, but I won't sell it at that. But throw me $5, then I'll throw you something back. But just walking up and being like, "What's your best?" Seriously, I would much rather hear a lowball offer than have that question, because I don't like negotiating against myself. I don't like knocking my numbers down when I feel I've already put it out at a good price. But it happens. It happens multiple times a show, as we all know.
I just find like from like a base, like human to human level, when you ask me for my best, and sometimes I'll be nice. I'll give you my nice number, my bottom. But then you're gonna chop me again and say I'm not working with you. Like that happened to me once or twice, and it tickled my gears. Just from like, if you ask for my bet, you can't be you're either gonna take my number or walk away. Like, come on now, that's not negotiating. If you're asking for my best and you're trying to chop me again, ask me for my best after you've made an offer. Like,
This is a fantastic PSA, and I really hope that everyone takes this to heart. Unfortunately, it comes with the game, and you got to learn how to deal with anyone that comes up to your booth. It's totally fair if there's some people that you just don't want to do business with and you don't want to sell to. You can just say that. Like, you have every right to. They're your cards, right? But also, like, it's like finding it infuriates the heck out of me too when people say that. It's like, I can't fight over myself. Like, we got to have this like conversation. Like, my number's right there. I have my cards stickered, right? Like, if my cards didn't have prices on them, then that's a fair question. All my cards have prices, so like, that's the number to start with, and go from there. Coleman already answered this, though. I have one question for you, Adrian. Like, would you rather, let's say you have a card stickered at $500, would you rather someone come up and ask you what your best is, or offer you 250, half the price of it? Like, picture it in your head.
I'd rather have someone offer me 250 and me being like, I can work with you a bit, but like I'm nowhere near 250. Like, that's a way easier for me to work with someone than it is for me to
Who scored?
this is a reel on
That's
its own.
happening. That's freaking happening again. Yes. Sorry.
That's gonna be, we're gonna have a reel of just Nick reacting to the game mid podcast both times. No, I would definitely. I'd rather someone kick me in the shin than someone like. I'd rather someone kick me in the shin than someone negotiate my best. If you ask for my best, like, I'm an honest person. Like, I'll tell you where my bottom is and what I can let it go for. And then when you come back and you'd be like 20% off of what I already knocked off, it's like, yo, I can't work with that. You're telling me that I'm lying to you, right? Like, that's what tickles my gears. I get what you're saying too. Like, this is the business that we're in, and it comes with the job, but it's become an epidemic where everybody is using the what's your best. Come on.
For sure. And I'm sure we'll see it this weekend. I know you guys aren't setting up. I think you're gonna come and walk maybe, but we'll be at the Durham Ajax Card Show this weekend. I don't know if you guys are going to CSC or if you're gonna walk, but there's two great shows going on this weekend, and it's gonna be good time. We're going to be out there buying and trading, selling, and just prepping for Expo. Toronto Expo is getting close and it's coming up fast.
Yep, 3 weeks away.
I cannot wait.
I know, me
I
too.
cannot wait. Best show of the year, especially in the fall.
And
The
it
fall
is for sure.
is the fall expo is just different.
Is there anything else we have to go over?
I think that's it.
Zachary Bolduc has 3 goals in 4.5 games, and Kapanen just joined him.
That is.
So
We're gonna have
I
to
think
come back in a couple weeks and talk about the Montreal. See where
I'm
they're at.
sure everyone is wondering why I'm not wearing my Habs stuff. I do have something here. It is not a Habs jersey, but it might as well be because I just want to shout out Marty St. Louis, because you have to understand
Uh,
that him and Kent Hughes, like they work as a team, and the moves that they've made over this offseason, chef's kiss. I can't even tell you how happy I am with it. Felt like Kapanen was not supposed to be this good, and Bolduc, holy cow, what a fleecing that was. Thank you so much, Saint. I think it was St. Louis. Was it St. Louis? See, I can't even remember because of St. Louis. Like they're just such a forgettable team.
Well,
Sorry about that.
that wraps up another episode of Card Talk Canada. I think we're all going to run as Game 4 of the Blue Jays is currently on as we are recording. So we got to check in on our Bluebirds. But thank you, everyone, for your time. Coleman, we'll see you this weekend.
yes, we'll see everyone, and thank you. We'll be back next week. We'll have a full episode and getting ready for Expo and getting ready for everything.
Thank you guys for having me
Thanks, Nick,
back
for
on.
coming on.
Go Habs, go.